Today we're going to be talking about scrappy quilt backing, and I am really excited about this topic. I looked back through my blogs and all of my educational posts, and I couldn't find where I had covered this topic. The only place that I know I've covered it at is in my book. So if you have a copy of A Life with Quilts, you know that there's these little diagrams for every one of the quilt patterns that shows you how to make scrappy backing. And it's going to be in all of my future quilt patterns. So this is Soul Shine behind me. Soul Shine releases on February 25th, 2022, and it will have a page in the back of the pattern that looks like this. And today in this video, what we're going to do is work through this page. I'm going to show you how to read it, how to understand it, and we're going to make a backing for the quilt behind me. I want to get a few things out of the way before we start making the backing. First thing, big thing, there are so many different ways to think about quilt backing, and nobody's doing it wrong. You're not doing it wrong. Whatever way you're using that works for you and that you want to stick with it. If you see this page in one of the patterns you buy from me and hate it, just chuck it. You don't need this if you don't want it. It's there for those who do need it though. Let's talk about fabric requirements for backing within patterns. Let's say our pattern asks us to make a 60 by 80 backing. The fabric requirements for 60 by 80 are going to be more yardage than using a scrappy backing. So that's one of the major benefits of scrappy backing, is it uses less fabric. You don't have to go out and buy 5 yards of one fabric. But if you're backing that 60 by 80 quilt, that fabric requirement is going to have you cut 2 pieces that are 80 inches in length, sew those pieces together, and then trim them to 60 to have a finished 60 by 80 backing. What I don't like about that is 2 things. First thing is that you're left with this really long scrap, and it's too big for your scrap basket. That thing is usually huge. And then you're going to put it in your stash, of course, and it's going to be really hard to use, or at least it's hard for me to use. It's just a pain, right? Second reason is I am nitpicky enough. And I'm sure of y'all feel the exact same way. And then of course there'll be those of y'all who don't. But I am nitpicky enough that if this piece has a butterfly over here, then I want the butterfly on this side to match up perfectly. And I do not have time to be putting that much thought into quilt backing. Quilt backing is an afterthought for me. I want my backing to be cute, but I don't want to be spending a lot of time doing that. So for that reason, I almost always use scrappy backing. The only time you're going to find one single fabric on the back of one of my quilts is if I used a wide back. Unfortunately, wide backs are hard to find in exactly what you're looking for, so I do end up piecing them at least half the time. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so here is a better look at this page. And here's a few things to think about. The fabric requirements are all based on 42-inch wide fabric, and the trim sizes are all based on using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I know a lot of people use a 1/2 inch seam for their backing, but I don't. I use a 1/4 inch. So if you are using a 1/2 inch seam, you'll need to add that 1/2 inch to these measurements. Also, these measurements that I make my backings are based on making it 6 inches wider than the quilt top and 6 inches longer than the quilt top. So my quilt top measures 60 by 72 inches, but my backing measures 66 by 78 inches. Another thing to help explain these pages are these stripes that I've given the fabric. So the stripes are for a purpose. It shows you the direction of the fabric. So in this fabric, let's say that my fabric had butterflies all over this. The butterflies would be going in the right direction. But on these fabrics, I've got the fabric turned sideways. So if I used a directional print for these two, then they're going to be turned sideways. So I may try, if I'm going to think about stuff like that, I may try to avoid directional prints for anything turned horizontal, and use it for the ones that are turned vertical. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I've put these little instructions down here to try to help understand the direction of the fabric. So on the vertical stripe, your your selvage would have been on here and on here. And on these that got the stripe running horizontal, your selvage would be here and here. So just a little something to think about before you choose your fabrics. Okay, so you can see that this quilt backing requires 3 pieces of fabric, the big piece and then the 2 little pieces. Each piece tells you how much yardage you'll need. So this big piece calls for 2 1/4 yard. This smaller piece calls for 3/4, and this piece calls for 3/4. So that should be less than the backing requirements say in the beginning part of the pattern. So I've got my 3 fabrics here. This is a 3/4 yard, 3/4 yard, and this is my big print. So I've chosen a directional for my big print because it'll sit perfect on the quilt as far as placement goes. And these, it doesn't matter which way I turn them. So they're a good choice for the horizontally placed fabrics. So let me give you a cutting demonstration so we are all on the same page. All right, so we're going to start with our longest piece fabric. So this is that 2 1/4 yards, and I'm going to line it up on my mat. I'm going to get it flush with one of the lines on my mat so that I know it's sitting straight. Okay, I'm also going to take some weight and put it right here because it's going to slide off my table if I don't. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut a smidgen off so that I can have one side straight. Get some room. All right, now that I got that out of the way, now I'm going to cut that 78 inches from the 2 1/4. So my 2 1/4 yard, and then we're just going to count the inches. Do that. So that was 30. Here is 60. $70, $71, $72, $73, $74, $75, $76, $77, $78. So I'm going to cut right here where it would measure 78 inches. So this is my first cut. This is for scraps. All right, before I start unfolding anything, I'm going to take this, and I just want to get this selvage cut off first before I start doing the width cut. So that was the length cut. Fold it up. And then I'm going to remove this selvage. All right, there's my selvage removed. And before I make my next cut, I'm going to take my fabric and press this manufacturer's fold out of it. So let me do that. All right, all pressed. So now I have a piece that is going to look like this in the quilt. So big long piece looks like this. What we're going to do is now we've got to trim it to that 41.5 inches. So we want this piece to measure 41.5 by 78 inches. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half. So it was folded, you know, like this by the manufacturer, but we're going to fold it the opposite way. The reason that you want to press that manufacturer's fold out is it'll give you a more accurate cut, but also if you're gonna quilt your quilt, you might stitch right over that fold. I've had it get caught in a lot of mine before, so I always press it out. And we're folding this one this way. I'm just making sure that this piece is going to lay straight on my cutting mat, so when I cut it to 41.5, everything looks great. So I'm going to put it flush with another line on my mat. And then I'm going to trim to 41.5. So I'm going to cut this, I'm going to cut a straight edge right here before I make that cut. Let me move this. All right, so I've got a nice straight edge, and now I'm going to cut the 41.5. So I'm going to have to pick this up. 30. $30, $40, 1.5. It's going to be just a smidgen coming off this other side. All right. All right, so this piece is ready to go. So I'm just going to put this to the side. And now we're going to cut our second piece. All right, so here's my second piece. It's a 3/4 yard, and I'm going to put the selvage closest to me. I'm going to put this on the floor because it's getting on my nerves. All right, so we're going to trim off so we have a nice straight edge. And we're trimming this one to 25.5. That's pretty easy peasy. And while I still have it like this, I'm going to cut this selvage off. So take it right here, fold it once. All right, so now I'm going to open it up, and we're going to press out that manufacturer's fold one more time. All right, so here's my piece, and we're going to go to the cutting mat, and it's a little bit wider, so I am going to have to fold this one too, but we're going to fold it the opposite way that it was folded by the manufacturer, and I'm going to get it all lined up. And I like to spend time getting things lined up so that when I put them in a quilt, you know, they're straight with what I need it to be. I'll get wonky cuts if I just go at this, you know, willy-nilly. So let's trim this for a straight edge. And then we're cutting this width to 41.5. So 30, 40, 41.5. All right, so now this piece is ready to go. Remember that it's going to sit like this in the quilt, not like this. So we're going to put this piece to the side and do our last piece. So the last piece is exactly like the other pieces. So line it up on the cutting mat, trim off for our straight edge. And we're going to cut 25.5 inches. And remember to remove the selvages. So we're going to fold it this way. Have our selvages on the left here. We're going to cut those and get them out of the way. All right. Now we will open it up and we're going to go press out this manufacturer's fold. All pressed. We're going to long ways fold it. And this is the fabric width that we're cutting. And take your time and get everything matched up. We want all of our edges to be all matched up before you make cuts. We're going to trim this off to get our straight edge. And then we are cutting, this time we're cutting 37.5 inches. So 30. 37.5. So this piece is actually a little bit bigger. It's actually a little bit smaller than that piece we just cut. 37.5. We ended up with a pretty decent scrap. All right, so that's all pieces cut. When you sew these together, everything will come out exactly the size you need it. You won't have to do any more trimming of the backing. Okay, so we're ready to sew. All right, so we have this piece, and we're gonna get that other small piece that we cut. All right, so we've got two small pieces, and we're gonna sew them together on their short sides. So we're gonna make a long piece. So short side for this one, short side for this one. All right, and I'm gonna sew this edge at the top together, and then we're gonna press it. So be right back. All right, so I've sewn, I've pressed, and I have this really long piece. And it really doesn't matter which way I turn this. So if I get mixed up and turn it this way, I actually think this is the right way, but it really doesn't matter. So no matter which way I turn this, it will measure what I need it to measure. This piece is gonna get sewn to our really big piece. So let me get that. All right, here's our really big piece. And we're gonna sew these together on the long sides of each. So, and it doesn't matter which side I sew this to. So I can sew it to the left, I can sew it to the right. Either way, it's gonna be accurate. So I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna take this one. Let's see. And I don't usually pin my backings. I just kind of run them through the sewing machine. We have 6 inches of wiggle room, so usually it's okay. And these are going to get put together like this. All right, so boom, boom. I'm going to go sew this together and press. All right, I am done. I have my 66 by 78 inch backing, and I'm ready to cut my batting, get my quilt basted, get to quilting it. I hope this was helpful. I hope that made sense of these pages that are going to be in all my future patterns. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments or send me an email. I'm pretty good about answering emails and comments, and I will see you back next time.